God. Listen, what's it's free too. What did you guys say? What the fuck? Nancy says, hey, hola, Oman. Oh, there's free too. Well, let's appreciate my space. Blah, 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 David. Hello, Nancy. I'm so sorry for the interruption. Hi, Sam. Sam's here. I'm so sorry for the mess up. God, I really can't explain it. What am I going to do with this? Use Zach Baggins' book as a goddamn spread. Hold on. I'm actually going to do better than that. I'm going to use this as a nightstand for this to put this on top of. Oh, let's turn this back on. There we are. Nice, crisp. Can you guys see it? Do I have to do what? Push them back? All right, so there you can see that. Let's see where I got scalped. Yes, thanks, Kimberly. Yes, I'm back. I'm trying to find where I can put this. This one? All right. Here. You go here. You have to excuse us for doing a little remodeling. So this won't disconnect again like the last time. Bear with us, please. Thank you very much. We greatly appreciate it. Son of a bitch. Pain in the ass. You'll have to excuse me for 1 second while I try to figure out something logistically speaking. Well, I'd personally rather be right here so I can look at this screen up here. So that's a gosh darn big leap from where it sits right now. Hold it 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. I'm just going to go find a freaking cardboard box to make use of. No, I can't. Here. Oh, hell no. Not going to happen yet. How about you? No, you're also big. You're not big, but you're heavy. Let's just grab you. All right. It's better than nothing, God forbid. All right, hold on, guys. I'm going to raise you up. You don't understand what this means for me. For me, this is a lot easier. Yeah. Now I'm not like this. I'm looking just a little bit down at this. Hey, PJ. Hey, Sam. Nancy. Hey, Don. Yeah, really. Yeah, happy. A somber 70th. Blah, blah. A somber 70th anniversary of the death today of James Dean by Donald Turnipseed with an accident whom he had on highway. I forgot the number, but I remember it was Donald Turnipseed who he crashed into in his Porsche, little bastard. Horrible day. He's only 24 years old. What was I saying? You hope you didn't see a face? I hope you did see a face. That means there's a ghost here with us, by all means. Well, thank you very much. I'm hearing sounds. I'm just telling you, I'm hearing sounds I can't, not the fish tanky, that just sounds like noises that are not. Natural to my ears here. So like I said, Amen Paranormal Research has got an event here on Friday night. It's $100. It'll be very interesting. He has a SLS LiDAR, which is not like the SLS like we're familiar with the, was it the Wii the bar and all that stuff. It's totally different, and it's much more interesting because the way it works is just fascinating. Nancy, I have his book because somebody told me that I'm in the book. I said, "What do you mean I'm in the book?" She goes, "Oh, he wrote a whole half a chapter about you in his book." So I had to get it. And you know where I got it? I got the book at, yeah, that'll stay, on one of those, basically thrift store, books, book offerings. I think I paid $1 for it. You want to know what it cost in the bookstore? Its original price? Wait, this way? Okay. No. 26.95 for this book. So now I paid $1.50 for it. That's sweet, you're popular. It's what he said in his book that it wasn't so good. Yes, this is the book he wrote, I Am Haunted. Yeah, cheap. You think I'd pay $1 more for this piece of trash? I'm surprised it wasn't written in crayon. Do you guys want me to read to you from the book of Baggins about what he said about Oman and the house? The whole time we're looking for a spirit in the nooks and crannies of a place, the spirit may actually be found in a person who lives there. Many spirits just want their physical bodies back, after all. They want to smoke a cigarette, eat a pancake, lay out by the pool, and feel the wind on their face or the touch of a loved one. The David Oman House in California is another prime example of a person rather than the location itself being haunted. David lives in a house that even the most intelligent and respected paranormal experts fear to enter. Dr. Barry Taff is a parapsychologist and a PhD who has done more than 4,500 investigations using the most advanced equipment, yet he says that the David Oman House is the only place he feared to set foot in again after investigating it once. Dr. Taft claims that the house almost killed him and that nearly every time he goes there, more than 20 visits so far, he winds up in the hospital. So I had to ask, how could someone live there and not be affected? And my question is how could Zach not have the intelligence to ask, excuse me, if after the first time you visited there it nearly killed you, as I just stated, and you went back 20 freaking times, why'd you go back 20 more times if the first time almost killed you? That's not the question he asks. No. He asks about me, that I'm living here, etc. When I met the owner, David Oman, I knew right away that there wasn't something right with him. I couldn't tell if it was personal, mental, or the house, but it didn't take long for something powerful and dark to affect me and my crew. It seemed to control David Oman, and it was trying to gain control of us too. What dramatic horseshit. Sidebar from me, of course. The question was, what was it? The spirits at the Fox Hollow Farm were easy to identify because the murders had been committed there. But the David Oman house was different. As far as we knew, no deaths had occurred on the premises. The house was in close proximity to the mansion where Sharon Tate and her friends were murdered by the members of the Charles Manson cult, but that was all that we knew of. And those murders occurred nearly 200 yards away from the house that was no longer there. Oman was quick to tell us that he feels he's being affected by Tate's spirit. But Dr. Taft felt there was something more that was going on, and I agreed. Taft described the energy of the house. Oh, yeah, share this with your friends. Come on, let's get this number up there, kid. What are you guys writing? Different colored crayons. Very funny. Yeah. Yes, cheap. I'm good, Nancy. Oh, God. All right. Well, if you're going to sit there and have a side conversation as I'm reading, why am I reading? Yes, Gail, very much. Go Dodgers. Dr. Taft says, my instruments, geomagnetometer, natural trifield meter, air ion counter indicate bizarre and totally unprecedented magnetic fields and amplitude polarities throughout the entire house, combined with an ambient electromagnetic background anywhere from 20 to 100 times normal. This house was a compass needle's worst nightmare. In fact, there were several locations in David's home where a compass needle would spin wildly as if near quadrupole, which does not occur in nature. And on other occasions, almost everything in the house seemed to be emitting a very strong magnetic field, including glass, wood, plastic, leather, none of which are ferromagnetic or paramagnetic. While in the stairwell, disembodied voices could be heard, but were not always recordable. At times, it sounded like someone was loudly snoring or with severe asthma. At other times, it was like muffled conversations were occurring. If I stood in the stairwell too long, I became dizzy and nauseous. Even more amazing is that the David Oman house allegedly sits on a Native American burial grounds. Never a good idea. Benedict Canyon is said to have been a sacred burial area for native tribes. No, it's not. It's dog shit. Um, there were no but there was no way to know for sure if this is true. No, it's not. You liar! You made that up. Listen to this. There were no historians, no record keepers, no technologies to record their lives. But we do know that the natives lived, fought, and sacrificed animals. No, they didn't sacrifice animals. The Tongva tribe didn't believe in that, you stupid idiot. God, so bad. And buried their dead in this area. No, they didn't. They had no crystal ball. They couldn't have foreseen that one day one of the largest cities in the world, would one day overtake their sacred land with tractors, homes, technology, parties, even murders. We have to remember that they had no way that they had no remember the way the native tribes thought. They had a relationship with Mother Nature on this land, and then we came along and we desecrated it. Can you blame them for being pissed? I believe it curses I believe it curses the spirits and taints the energy there. The land is not supposed to be disturbed, let alone have homes built on it. It's like an Egyptian sarcophagus that shouldn't be opened. In my opinion, the Sharon Tate mirrors only agitated the energy even more. I think those heinous acts awaken something in the ground that either wants them to leave or wants vengeance. That whatever spirits were awakened are so strong that they're also affecting David Oman. David is a nice guy, but we had issues with him. When the cameras were off, he liked to argue. He would be nice one minute and then causing problems with the crew the next. He made the biggest deal out of the smallest issues, like a mark on the wall that made him snap. I'll touch base on that after we're done. We were wary around him, and were almost scared of him at times because he was so unpredictable. He could turn into someone else without the drop of a hat. But was that really him, or was that something manipulating him? David seemed to know when something paranormal was about to happen in the house. We were interviewing him once, and with the camera off. Why would you be interviewing me with the camera off? It's a TV show. What are you going to do? Transcribe what I said and then have somebody read it back? You're interviewing me with the cameras off. Just let that sink in. You don't interview somebody for a TV show with the cameras off. All the previous interviews were done before we were shooting, weeks before, and all that stuff was discussed. So saying we're interviewing him with the cameras off doesn't make any sense. I'm just thinking about this thing. We're interviewing with the cameras off. Why are you interviewing me if you don't have the cameras on? You sound like an idiot. And he says we were interviewing with the cameras off. And he could tell us when the figurines were going to fall over or loud noises were going to be heard. He seemed to he seemed to have a relationship with the spirits. And Dr. Taff even said that he may be a poltergeist host, in quotes. He talked to the spirits like the way a parent talks to a noisy child when the family has company, with terse scolding. At times, we were almost investigating David instead of the house. Dr. Taff was definitely afraid of him. David Oman is another example of spirits or living inside or through human beings. You heard that? I believe the affected people take on bizarre personalities and unpredictable behaviors. When I look into their eyes, I don't see the person, but I see the spirit inside them. Not their own spirit, but the spirit of someone else who has passed over. They're half alive and half dead, almost like zombies. They have a hard time answering questions because they confuse the history of their own life with the history of the spirit inside them. Like half their life is gone and they just can't remember it. Haunted locations change people. Maybe the spirits who refuse to leave the location also refuse to leave the people who live there. And here again, another fine example of what do we have? Oh, not picture Zach Baggins coming out of a trap door. First of all, he says something about me snapping over a mark, the smallest thing over a mark on the wall. What he's referencing is in the third level, as you know, there's that 220-inch screen on the wall that's painted with screen paint. When they were down there, they had a 4-foot by 2-foot by 1-foot thick Pelican case. For those of you who don't know that, it's a case that you put camera equipment in. It's very, very big, sturdy. It's, I think it's like fiberglass or some heavy plastic. And on the corners, there are these brass nuggets, is how it's called. And the corners are like brass reinforced corner pieces on all 8 of the corners. And the guy had some camera equipment. He wheeled it around and bashed it into the middle of the screen. Probably about, the screen's but 6 feet, 7 feet. It's like 6.5, 7 feet down by like 12 feet. And there's this 2-inch long by 1 inch tall by about a good half an inch thick, deep gash in the middle of the screen, 3 feet up, right in the center of the screen. I'm like, what the hell was that? And I said, oh no. I said, you guys, you got to take care of that. And he goes, it's under the coverage. You know, send us the bill. We'll repair it. I said, we'll have it take care of the repair. I said, well, look, $75 for the 1/4 screen paint, because it's $200 a gallon or $75 a quart. And it's going to cost, I figured out it's going to cost about $25 out of labor to come, to sand it, to patch it, to sand it, to resand it, to then primer it, and to resand it, then to patch the whole area and make it all match, and then to repaint it. So it's $100. I sent them the bill a couple days afterwards, and they squabbled about it. And said, we're not paying that. I said, your guy, I said, such and such at this time basically smashed the gosh darn case, the bell tried to ring, into the wall, which is the screen of the theater room. It took them several months to finally agree to pay for the frickin' damage. Okay? And then I think the second thing he mentioned was something about, I forgot what was the other thing. It always pisses me off when I read it. Let me see. Oh yeah, we discussed the figurines getting knocked over. The idea that somehow I'm possessed. The master of self-possession says, I'm possessed, you know. Did I say that properly? The master of self-possession spirits? He's a real tool, isn't he? Thank you, Sonny. How are you? Hi, Samjit. Um, I know, love David's vibe. I do. Oh, thanks, Nancy. I appreciate it. Hey, Sarah. So I think they like me too. Hey, Gord. This is a low IQ story. What do you mean by that, Gord? This is a low IQ story. Um, where's less sugar? Where is my? I want my less sugar. Gord, what do you mean by that? Please elicit the commentary. Oh, thank you, Gord. I appreciate. I I think we're giving him more credit than he deserves, because if you look at the title of the book, you see there it says Zach Baggins, Kelly Krieger. Who do you think wrote the book? I don't think Zach wrote it. I think Kelly wrote the book. I wonder if there's anything we can see. I dedicate this book to all my amazing fans. My Ghost Adventures crew, family, and my and all my skeptics turned believers, and all the souls who have communicated with me and left a mark on my life forever. He thanks his dogs. He's oh my god. What's interesting is he doesn't say thank you to this Kelly Krieger, and you wonder why her name is there, because she's the woman that wrote the freaking book. You know, my book, wherever the fuck you are, a book. Shut up. Guys, where's the book? It's over there. Shit. Well, it's not like we need the book. It's not like you don't have a. No, that's not the book. That's his. Where's my book? Where's my book? Why is my book all the way over there? Ow. Why are you over here? See, this book was written all by yours truly. Nobody helped me, not even AI. No, I would never use AI. I don't believe in AI. Sorry, I don't. I'm not a fan of it. I think it uses up too much energy. That's a waste of energy. I think it's just too much. It was written by someone with this. Well, I appreciate that. Oh, the Sacred Land. Thank you. That's so much bullshit. The house, according to the story that was told to me by Lisa Williams, some, god damn, 17, I think it was 17 years ago when she came here after I was on Ghost Hunters. She went in the third floor and she looked at the dirt mound. She goes, do you know there's a Native American who's on horseback whose remains were interred in the earth? And I'm like, and at the time I didn't know the history of the end of the driveway. Well, I didn't know the history of what happened in 1842 down the street at a mile away at Chevy Chase and Benedict Canyon, where the Native Americans attacked and were basically repelled in their raid, and 3 of them were killed on the spot and buried in the Walnut Grove in 1842, only to be uncovered in 1925 when the Beverly Hills First Women's Club was unearthed. Was basically when ground was first broken to build the Beverly Hills First Women's Club, and the remains of the 3 Native Americans were uncovered. And on that spot, to this very day, there's a granite boulder, and on a brass placard it says, on this spot, blah, 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 this happened in 1842. So it was like So what Lisa said is he's there. And so I didn't tell anybody through the years until Zach Baggins was here some 8 years later in 2014. And I told him the story. And meantime, before I told anybody, and people would go into, the psychics would go, like James Von Prague went in there, he goes, "There's a Native American in here. I got to get out of here." And flew out of the room. Other people would go in there that were not famous psychics, and they all said, "I feel Native American energy in here." And I'm going, and I wasn't like saying, "Hey guys, there's a Native American spirit that's visiting that lives in this." I didn't say anything. So until Zach got wind of that, nobody knew. When the cat came out of the bag, and for some stupid reason I told him, he turned it into an embellishment of embellishments, meaning it's now a Native American ceremonial burial ground. I'm going, the guy died by accident. Lisa said, he was riding his horse. The horse fell down the hill. The horse and the rider both broke their necks and were dead on the side of the hill. And through the decades, their remains, dissolved and became part of the hillside and covered by the mudslides. So it was crazy, really crazy. It's all sacred land thing in Poltergeist. Yeah, well, that's exactly. At least Willie Nelson and Cleveland Girls Love for. Very funny there, Don. Hey, MBJ, how are you? Hi, Deborah. So where the hell is Les freaking Sugar? I really want to know what happened to Les Sugar, because he was going to bring, he was going to do all this and that in the movie, and now I've got somebody that's interested in the movie possibly, and hopefully I'll make a deal with them and get the movie onto distribution. But like I said, where's less sugar? I want my less sugar. Time for less sugar. Oh, Les, where are you? Somebody, like I said, when I spoke earlier, somebody called or texted me at like 4 a.m. the other night. And I've got the number and I've called it several times, and it's a 323 number. So it's in Hollywood. And I thought it was Les. And I wrote back in the text, I said, "Who is this?" And the message was, "You should invite me for a Halloween party." And I'm like, what fucking Halloween party? I'm just working on the next day on a daily basis, working about that. Yeah, I hope so too, Don. But like I said, I've got another company that I'm also talking to. So that was interested. I talked to, that reached out to me on Monday. So we'll see. But like I said, where's Les and Dwight Yoakam? I'm serious. I was so looking forward to that possibly coming through for me. I really was. I have to admit, I was praying that Les was telling the truth and he knew Dwight Yoakam and we could get Dwight up here and do something. So, in any event, let us read from the good book. This good book. This scary story book. Look, it's the 1st of fucking October. You got to read a scary book, a story, and that the hell wasn't it. No, not Mike Boneback. No. All right, got one. Haven't ever read that before, so this is good. Just delicious. George Flint, who loved to eat, each day he loved to eat. George Flint loved to eat. Each day at noon, he closed his camera shop for 2 hours and went home for a big lunch with his wife. A big lunch his wife Mina cooked for him. George was a bully, and Mina was a timid woman who did everything he asked because she was afraid of him. On the way home for lunch one day, George stopped at the butcher shop and bought a pound of liver. He loved liver. He would have Mina cook it for dinner that night. Despite all his complaints about her, she was a very good cook. While George ate lunch, Mina told him that a rich woman in town had died. Her body was still in the church next door. It was in an open coffin. Anyone who wanted to see her could. As usual, George was not interested in what Mina had to say. "I've got to go back to work," he told her. After Mina began to cook the liver, she added vegetables and spice and simmered it all afternoon, just the way George liked it. When she thought it was done, she cut off a small piece and tasted it. It was delicious, the best she had ever made. She ate a second piece, then a third. It was so good she couldn't stop eating it. It was only then that the liver was all gone that she had thought, that she thought, it was only then, when the liver was all gone, that she thought of George. He would be coming home soon. What he would do when he found out that she had eaten all the liver. Some men would laugh, but not George. He would be so angry and mean. He would be so angry. He would be angry and mean, and he did not want to face. And she did not want to face that again. But where could she get another piece of liver that late in the day? Then she remembered the old woman lying in the church next door, waiting to be buried. George said he'd never had a better dinner. Have some more. Have some more. Have some liver, Mina said. Have some liver, Mina said. Have some. Yeah, have some liver, Mina said. He said. Hold on. George said he had never had a better dinner. Have some liver, Mina, he said. It's just delicious. I'm not hungry, she said. You finish it. That night, after George had fallen asleep, Mina sat in bed trying to read, but all she could think about was what she had done. But then she thought she heard a woman's voice. Who has my liver? It asked. Who has it? Was it her imagination? Was she dreaming? Now the voice was closer. Who has my liver? It asked. Who has it? Mina wanted to run. No, no, she whispered. I don't have it. I don't have your liver. Now the voice was right next to her. Who has my liver? It asked. Who has it? Mina froze with terror. She pointed to George. He does. He has it. Suddenly the lights went out and George screamed and screamed. Ooh, that was a doozy. What are you guys saying, MGBs? Hello, David. So, hey, Deborah. Hello, MB. Hopefully the deal was, yeah. Read from the Book of Omen. You're too funny. You stop it. Don, you're funny. I can never live again after hearing that. That was a good story. That was really a good story. Like I said, the stories in this book are literally made for little visual mini vignettes, little mini movies. It'd be so good for that. Yeah, Deborah, that was a good one. Here's one. No thanks. This is the last one, then we're going to wrap it up. Well, thank you very much, Samjit. I appreciate that. No thanks. Thursday nights, Jim worked as a stock boy at one of the malls out on the highway. By 8:30, he was usually finished and done and drove home. But that night, Jim was one of the last to leave. By the time he got the huge parking lot, out to the huge parking lot, it was almost empty. The only sounds were cars in the distance and footsteps on the pavement. Suddenly, a man stepped out of the shadows. Hey, mister, he called in a low voice. He held out his right hand. Balanced on his palm was a long, thin blade of a knife. Jim stopped. Nice, sharp knife, the man said softly. Don't panic, Jim thought. Don't run. The man stepped towards him. Don't run, Jim told himself. Nice, sharp knife, the man repeated. Give him what he wants, Jim thought. The man came closer. He held the knife up. Cuts nice and easy, he said slowly. Jim waited. The man peered into his face. Hey, man, I only have $3. Two for five. He goes, oh, sorry. Jim's waited. The man peered into his face. Hey, man, only $3. Two for five. Nice present for your mama. No thanks, Jim said. She's got one. And he ran for the car. That would be a great one for Saturday Night Live. I'm telling you, that would be a great skit. I think I got to see it. I got to really think about that. I got to hold that one out. I really do. I really do. I think that would be so funny to do that as a skit and videotape that. That's hysterical. No thanks. He goes, $3 each because 2 for 5. Sharp knife. Yeah. It's 1 for 3 or 2 for 5. It's great. That's great. No thanks. Oh, God. Oh, that is a good one. Well, like I said, it's been a pleasure being on with you guys. I'm sorry for the air. God, I've been on for 36 minutes, twice as long as I was supposed to be. What am I looking for? I'm looking for my brains. I need my brains. Brains! I need brains! Zombie Omen needs brains. If I had any, I wouldn't be in this position, now would I? Go figure. You wish I was, yeah, that would be funny too. Candygram, yeah, Candygram. Land shark. Oh, well, come on in. All right, so look, the 19 of you. It's been fun. It's been real. I can't say it's been real fun. That said, and that dead, it's the 1st of October, 2025. I am signing out. It is almost 5 minutes to 11. I need you guys to help me very much. Please, please help me. Help me. No. I want you guys to buy copies of my book at Ghost of Sailor Drive. That's right, wherever that book is. I keep asking where there it is. Such an idiot. This book. That's right. It's the season to buy a book about ghosts. And this is the best book about ghosts because it's a real story about ghosts. From a guy who's been living with them for 23 years. Crap. Jesus Christ. Almighty goodness, God. Like I said, goes-to-sailordrive.com for the book. And again, rent the movie in droves. I want you guys to rent it as much as you can while you can, since it's only here until it gets picked up by the studio, and then it's not going to be here anymore. So if you want to rent it now for 3 days for $3.99, go here. That's right. Goes to Sailor Drive. .vhx.tv. That's the top line you see there, kiddies. All right, with everybody, this is Omen out. Have yourself a very good Wednesday. And again, happy first day of the month of Halloween. From the Omen House, keep it spooky. Omen out.